Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the C3 Friday Free for All, the show for Panther fans by Panther fans. That's right. If you would like to be a part of the conversation today, you can do so. I posted the link to join the Streamyard in the chat box of both the YouTube and Facebook video. It is also in the description of both the YouTube, Facebook video. Man, this is your show to talk about the Carolina Panthers. And gentlemen, there's only two more Panther games the rest of the year. We are already at the end of the 2023 season, and I'll be damned if we're not looking at one of the most winnable matchups that I think we've maybe played all year, playing a Trevor Lawrence less Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to have a great show today, as always. You know, we're always joined by the faithful, my C3 brethren. First up, you know him, you love him. He might tell you to shut the hell up. It's Panther Pickle. Pickle, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, folks. Got a little bit of snow outside. I'm inside, and
Right?
we got football this weekend. We got
Yes,
football tomorrow.
sir. Yes, baby. We got football tomorrow, man. We got football this weekend. We got the Panthers this weekend. And praise the Lord, baby. How about them Clemson Tigers beating them Kentucky Wildcats today? It was a fantastic game. But yeah, man, not too shabby for winning the past 5 games in a row for my Clemson Tigers. So that'll have to do me over until next season. And hey, at least we beat them Gamecocks. Hey, you already know. But next up, my homie, the brand ambassador, the coolest, dopest creator of C3 images in all the world, my man Don D's ill skills. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What is going on, Cody Lack? I am elated to be here on another Friday free for all with all my C3 brethren tonight. We dare to dream, just as I sent out in my tweet earlier, and I posted the song in the chat, Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. We dare to dream of a better season for the Carolina Panthers in 2024. We dare to dream of more success for the C3 Panthers podcast and the Friday free for all here with Cody Lack. We just want you to come dream together with us and be a part of that C3 community. Come on, guys. Join Muscles Marinara. Join Panther Pickle. Join Cody Lack. Join JJ, Strats, and all the favorites here for the Friday free for all. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's go C3. Proud to be here, Cody.
Yes, sir, man. Happy to be here with you boys. There's nowhere I'd rather be on a Friday afternoon than chilling with my guys talking Panther football. Next up, my homie, Mr. Strats, back in the building after joining us for a great film room episode. By the way, check out that film room. We broke down the entire game of the Carolina Panthers versus the Green Bay Packers, and we were joined by the homie Strats. Strats, what up, buddy?
What up, guys? I'm super pumped to talk about the new Pokemon packs 2020. Oh, wrong podcast. My bad. I'm just kidding.
Damn you, man.
No, I'm excited. I got a few things up my sleeve here to share, and I'm hoping, like you said, that we might be able to pull out a win on this one. I think it's possible, and maybe we can finish 500 under our interim. I'll hand it back.
Oh man! By the way, this is a Digimon show, so just let you know. Okay.
Also good. I'm for that too. Garbage Pail Kids. That's a good one.
Yeah, of course, man. Absolutely. But appreciate you, Strats. And next up, this man has taken a bit of a hiatus from Panther Nation, but I have it on good authority that all it takes is a good performance against the Green Bay Packers, and his Louisiana ass is gonna roll back around. My brother Chad Morales. Chad, what up, dude?
Oh man, I will say this: after that game, it will it shows you that we are going to be okay. It gave us some hope and something to be excited about. 2024 is going to be a great year for Bryce and the Panthers and for Panther fans. I feel that 2024 is going to be a turning point year, and yeah, I mean it's been a bumpy road this year, but guys, I mean let's just hang in there, and let's all hope and pray that we get what we all deserve, and that is for the bank to be rowdy full of Panther fans again.
Oh, we need that, man. We need
By
that.
the way,
Yeah.
I want to be addressed as as Chad, the home of the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, from now until next year.
Boo, boo, boo.
But
Yeah.
no, guys. Hey, and I also want to say, Cody, when you mentioned that this is that we're at the tail end of the season, but you know what is so great about C3 Nation podcast
What's up, man?
is that this might be the end of the season, but C3 is going to be here every Tuesday night, every Friday night.
Bro, C3, our season is
And
365
strength
days.
And
Monday
And-
and any damn day we feel like it.
And
'Cause
let
you
me
ain't
also say
stopping us.
to any new listeners, guys, draft season is coming up. Cody goes through film rooms and goes through analysis. Guys, this is just the beginning. If you're a new listener of C3, oh shit, just
This is where you
buckle
want
up.
to be. This
Just
is where you
buckle
want
up.
to be, baby. And we're gonna
Keep
be
fucking
doing.
pounding.
We're gonna be doing a lot of them film rooms, Chad. We have a lot of college players that we got to start looking at, man. Hoping that one
Yep.
of them will fall to 33 or something.
And I've got one player in mind that I'll hold it for
All right.
later, but I've got one
All right.
player that I want.
I feel it, man. I feel that. Next up, my man, Panthers Kingdom. Panthers Kingdom, what's up, dude?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. A little bit newer, but let's hope we can all agree to some extent on some of these things.
And you know what? Even if we don't, well, then it wouldn't be a free for all without some lively back and forth discussion, man. So that's cool. I appreciate that. Last but not least, we got Dominic joining the building. Dominic, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, Cody, man? How y'all boys doing?
Doing good, man. Happy to have you back on the free for all, brother. How you been?
Oh yeah, doing good, man. Just glad I'm seeing Bryce Young progressing, man. You know.
Oh yeah. Hey man, that's what we're all happy about. But Panther Nation needed that. We needed that specific performance from Bryce Young to really have some excitement for what the future might hold for us. But everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. Gentlemen, we found out today the big news that the Panthers will be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday minus Trevor Lawrence. Right when the Panthers are coming off of, I mean, let's be real, one of our most optimistic offensive performances of the season. However, our defense did not fare too well. Do we imagine that, one, our defense is going to be able to show up against a backup quarterback in C.J. Beathard? And what do y'all think about, is this offense going to continue that performance?
I'm not gonna lie,
Jump
we
on
should
it,
kick the
whoever wants.
Jaguars' ass. In my
We
opinion,
should be humble about this one. I think there's a good shot that we can. If we're building off of what we saw last game and we see more of that, if we see half of that, I feel like we can come out with a dub.
The Jaguars are on a 4-game losing streak. This is a great opportunity for the Carolina Panthers to come in and be the Grinch that stole, I guess, the Happy New Year and Christmas, or whatever you'd like to call it. We've got a great opportunity before us. I feel like we can run the ball on that team, and I feel like we need to run the ball on that team. I don't think we need to come out there guns blazing like we had to against the Packers in the second half. Let's take a more methodical approach and pound that football. Let's get Chuba Hubbard up over 100 yards again, and then let's use that play action to carry us to the win. It is certainly possible. We need some help from our defense too. The defense didn't really show up against Love and the Green Bay Packers last Sunday. They got ran all over, and they pretty much did whatever they wanted to against our poor defense. I think they scored on their first 4 possessions. We can't let that happen again against the Jaguars. What we need is like an interception. Where's J.C. Horn? Where is he at? We need him. We need him to come up with a pick and help us out. Or maybe even Luvu. Maybe even Luvu gets a strip sack. That would be the kind of spark we would need to take care of this Jaguars team on Sunday.
Yeah, and all of those guys that you mentioned, right now, they're all listed as questionable to start the game Sunday. Now, Chris Tabor did say that he feels good about the status and the chances of left tackle Ike Ekwonu playing, who has a foot injury, cornerback J.C. Horn with a toe injury, and linebacker Frankie Louvu dealing with a quad injury. They're all listed as questionable, being ready to play Sunday. So we have a full list too. Troy Hill is out with the concussion. Dante Jackson has an ankle, so we're pretty banged up right now. Even Tommy Tremble, who's had a big time, almost like a bounce back season as of late, is listed on there with the back injury. So we're not necessarily as healthy as we want to be either. I feel like Strats maybe has a good point. Maybe we should be humble, not just assume that this is a W and kind of assume that it's going to be a hard fought matchup. Especially since we're 2-13 right now. Isn't that our record? Yeah, 2-13.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of agree with Strats on that one, man. This one, I kind of feel like it's going to be a hard fought performance. I don't see it being lopsided really either direction.
Yeah, especially that they're playing for something too. So
right, that's what I'm saying too.
Let me throw some numbers out here.
Yeah, go ahead.
With Breather starting, the Jacksonville the running game has struggled here lately. They've rushed for fewer than 90 yards in their last 5 contests. The Jacksonville 4 games, Travis Etienne is averaging 30.8 yards per game.
Good.
That's not that much.
Nope. And so their defense is playing okay, but their defense ain't lighting up the scoreboards. They're not shutting people down. So but my issue with the Panthers is the Panthers have won they've won a couple games, and they've almost won a couple games, but they always start slow and drag themselves out of the ditch. Don't go in the ditch, boys. Come out on fire. Come out with your pants on fire. Come out like somebody put a lighter to your ass when you was farting. All right? Light that sucker up.
Yeah.
Because
we're going to need to.
If you come out slow, you're going to stay buried.
And especially after the type of performance that Bryce Young had, that DJ Chark had, like that was just big time for both of them, man. Like we're all wondering if they can replicate that performance. But you brought up the defense and how we really need them to kind of, come back from the dead here. How about Derek Brown is once again one of PFF's highest graded interior defenders of 2023 at an 88.4. Yeah, man. Like I think we've all come around.
Man.
I mean, how are y'all feeling about Derek Brown? I kind of feel like the sentiment is changing from what once was pay Brian Burns to pay Derek Brown.
Right.
And by the way, anyone jump in on this, man?
It should have always been pay Derek Brown. Should have always been pay Derek Brown. And he got overlooked throughout most of the year. I mean, I said it a lot. And
I mean, he's
eventually
been balling out all year long. All year.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
I've got to credit Brian Burns. He said some great things lately, and he's owned up that he's running a little slow, and he's owned up things, and he says he wants to be back here. Well, he's going to be tagged. I 100% believe they're going to franchise tag him and go from there. They're just going to go from there and see what happens. And if another team, but in my opinion, when we get a new GM and we get a new head coach, if somebody wants to offer us a pick for Brian Burns, I believe Brian Burns is gone. If they want to offer us a first-round pick, I believe he's gone. And, that's why NFL players, when you have the opportunity presented to you, you have to take advantage of it. Stop holding back because you pissed off if you don't get paid. Stop waiting for that right opportunity. The opportunity is in front of you. Take it, because you might not get another.
I think it comes down to foresight. I think, and this kind of ties into how Burns plays too, but what we don't have a lot of is foresight, and that comes down to Fitterer and then Tepper, and then even all the way. Yeah, all the way down to when we did the film review yesterday and we were looking at Brian Burns, like he is good, but his foresight is just like off just enough to he'll take the wrong path too often, and like he'll tap someone and tell them to go. I don't know. It's just he's not thinking ahead too often.
Well, it seems to me like there's always this next step that Brian Burns is needing to take to become that highest tier pass rusher that we're still waiting for. And that's that's disappointing, man. I've said this before. It seems like when he gets to the top of his rush, he doesn't have the cherry on top of his speed rush. Like even if the offensive tackle gets his hands on him even marginally, it'll be enough to lead him around the quarterback instead of continuing to fight to line up his chest and his body towards the quarterback. So he has so many near misses on his film that you say, man, if he was able to clean that up, dude, he could have already been in the discussion for being the best edge rusher in the NFL. But it's that final step that I feel like he hasn't taken.
Do you think it's coaching?
He's a one-trick pony, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it could be a little bit of coaching. There's been a lot of different coaches throughout his entire time here. I kind of just think that Brian Burns, maybe. I mean, also going from a 4-3 defensive end to a 3-4 outside linebacker, I kind of feel like we thought that transition would be a little more seamless than what it actually has been. A lot of us felt it would be the best thing for him. But right now, he's not even doing the type of numbers right now that he did last year for us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think the effort's there either. There was plays against the Packers that I watched. I simply watched it on the highlights of the game, because I always watch them afterwards after watching the game. And I saw multiple plays where Burns took really bad angles in pursuit of the quarterback, and the quarterback was on the opposite side of the field. He could have beat the corner to the tackle, but he chose not to. He was in a jogging rather than a full sprint. But that's one of the things that I really do like about Derek Brown. Derek Brown's given relentless effort. I don't know how many of you have watched the Mic'd Up with Derek Brown the Panthers put out this week, but Derek Brown is the leader for the Panthers, and it's obvious in the way he acts on the field and the things that he says on the sideline. And that's one of the reasons why I believe firmly that Derek Brown is probably the most important player on the defense at this point. The Avero scheme has somewhat muted Brian Burns' ability to get to the quarterback, or perhaps the situations that offense has put the defense in has muted Brian Burns' chances to get to the quarterback, because football teams have been able to handily beat the Panthers just by running the football, and passing on us isn't necessary. Our defensive stats reflect that too. We're really stingy in the passing game. But I think Derek Brown is the guy that the Panthers need to invest in and build around for the future. They just need to find someone else to put next to him. Maybe even someone along with Brian Burns. We need another edge rusher or a true nose tackle. We've been saying it all season. We need a really big guy in the middle that's just as effective or close to as effective as DB at sucking up space in the middle. He can eat 2 or 3 blocks, and then that'll allow DB to really start getting those sacks that we've been waiting to see. He gets the pressures each and every season. He does a great job of getting those pressures, but he just can't finish getting to the quarterback because we need somebody else beside him. And I like Shy Tuttle. I think Shy Tuttle's cool and everything, but I don't think he's the best fit for the Panthers nose tackle if we're going to continue forward next year in this 3-4.
Yeah, man. Dude, so well said. I wanted another partner in crime for Derek Brown, someone to be able to go next to him. And something that we pointed out on the film room yesterday, Deez, was that whenever Derek Brown is not on the field, that's always when they gash us right up the middle. Like, these opposing teams, they know how to game plan for when our big man isn't in the formation. And, we don't have the kind of rotation that can make up for the absence of Derek Brown in the offense. Whereas I don't even feel like you could say the same thing for Derek Brown. I mean, not Derek Brown, Brian Burns. Like, I feel like there have been some other edge rushers that, while they haven't been obviously as talented as Brian Burns, like, they've been able to stand in. And, I mean, hey, Brian Burns didn't have a sack against the Green Bay Packers. YGM could have done that. So,
how do you guys feel about DJ Johnson?
Say again, Dominic?
How you guys feel about DJ Johnson?
I mean, it's his first year, so at the end of the day, we can't be out on him altogether. Uh, I tell you what, I feel like at the end of the year, he has certainly started to turn it on a lot more than earlier this season. But not only was he not
Yeah.
getting a lot of reps, but he just seemed raw. Just seemed like a raw player that still needed some coaching up. I have hope for him in the future, but I don't know if I've seen enough out of DJ Johnson to say, okay, this is someone that we're going to be able to depend on opposite Brian Burns for the near future. I don't
Well,
know.
Yeah,
Right.
if I can add, I agree to that a lot because and you know I often quote old my old school Panther days, and there's players that really looked, I don't want to say bad, but not exciting their rookie year. And you really scratch your head and say, I wonder what their future is, or their future is probably not bright. And they turned out very good. Charles Johnson's, he had 3 sacks his first year, and it was over a 16 game schedule. All right,
is
and
it? Yeah.
it was really rough for him. Um, even even Greg Hardy was.
He was great until the whole thing happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was balling out.
You know,
We had to let him go.
but but he didn't ball out until a few years after his rookie year.
Well,
So I don't want to turn him down just because it's rookie year and he's struggling. I think fans that do that really are unfair, and they're really unknowledgeable, because these rookies are rookies, and sometimes it takes them a couple. Sometimes it takes them a year or two to get their system kicks, and you know what? Just because they don't kick it in now and somebody else does, don't mean don't mean nothing. And
Yeah.
if you're holding it against a rookie on where he was drafted, I'm sorry, folks, just turn off the TV. Don't worry
Pickle,
about draft,
you
because
so
th-
there's a point
they
here in
can't help
this
where they're drafted.
with Derek Brown. What I think you might, I don't know what your opinion is on this or not, but what I have noticed is that they'll kind of keep him in for too long, and then they pluck him out at like the wrong moments too. So I think some of
Well,
this might even come down to Avero, to be, if I'm being honest.
a lot. I think Derek Brown comes out when he wants to. Last week he played the entire game on every.
Yeah, but what I'm what I'm
And
talking about specifically is when they pluck him out on goal line stance. That's not when you
Yes.
need to take him out.
So,
You
I
need to take
agree.
him
I
out on a different
100%
play.
agree. And that in itself is, well, you know what? The defensive coordinator is Ivero. You put it on Ivero. If it is the this is game 7, this is week 17. We're entering week 17. We've played basically 15 games, not counting the bye. So let's be real. If the defensive line coach is screwing up, he's been told for 16 weeks that it's all right, we'll fix it by Vero.
Well, also, I think a lot
So
of it depends on who we bring in next year. Strats, you asked if, Brian Burns not taking that next step, if that might have been on coaching. And I really hope, for the sake of all of our players that we're going to draft in the future, is that we finally get some consistency amongst the coaching staff. And we're not doing this constant thing of revolving door after revolving door. I mean, just think of it this way: Brian Burns has played defense under Ron Rivera. He's played defense under Phil Snow. He's played defense under Matt Rule and Phil Snow. He's played defense under now Frank Reich and Ajiro Rivero. It's like there's been so
Well, then
much.
Wilkes too, right? With
Yeah, he's been
right.
through a
who
lot
was
of
Steve
coaches.
Wilkes.
what
Right.
was
That's what I'm
under
saying.
Wilkes? Who was the defensive coordinator? I forget now.
Oh man, his
My
name's
mind is, if I wasn't sick this week with the flu, I'd have it off the top of my head.
No, he was the linebacker.
Al
Holcomb.
Holcomb.
Yeah,
Al
Al
Holcomb.
Holcomb.
With
Al
teaching, yeah, that's
Holcomb.
right.
Yeah, Al Holcomb was the defensive coordinator when Steve was the interim. So yeah, I mean, for the future sake of our continuity, I hope that we can get that going. Let's switch around to the offense. My question is, what are the chances that the Panthers are able to repeat that performance? Because let's be real, if the Panthers are buzzing and flying high off of a loss, it's because of what this offense was able to do and how they were able to really kind of break all of our expectations of what this Panther team can do. How confident are you all that we're going to be able to replicate that kind of performance? And let me throw the mic to Evan from Evan Sports Talk. Evan, what's up, dude? Happy to have you back, man.
What's up, guys? That's actually perfect because I was actually going to want to hop in on this one. As being a Jags and Panthers fan, this game's going to be interesting. And
Okay.
it allows me to bring I guess, another perspective a little bit as well, since I also read in a lot to the Jags. But I think a big thing for us to repeat what we did last week against the Jags defense, that if they stop the run, they can do really good overall as a defense. So that's the key, really, is handing the ball off with Chuba and Miles, more so Chuba, and having a consistency and being able to run the ball. If we can run the ball, it allows us to pass the ball with Bryce. And if Bryce plays like he did last week, the same thing with DJ, we're probably gonna the Panthers are gonna tear up the Jags defense, because if the Jags can't stop the run, they normally can't stop the pass either. And that's been a big issue with the Jags defense this year.
Yeah, their
And
defense has
especially in
been
the
one of
past
the
few
most
weeks.
disappointing parts of that Jaguars team this year. So a lot of you know I work for DraftTech.com too. I'm the Panthers analyst, but I've also picked up the Jaguars and the Texans. So it's my job to kind of know a little bit about those teams as well. And the Jaguars defense has really been a focal point of criticism for a lot of Jaguars fans. That they're worried about certain players not developing well, and just even from last year's performances, not really living up to that expectation. And then you have their offense when they're not able to run the ball, like you alluded to, everything else kind of dies on them. So it seems like whoever establishes the run in this football game probably has the best chances to win. Now, with that said, we didn't even run the football very well against Green Bay, which makes Bryce's performance all the more kind of impressive. The fact that we were able to do that without having a run game to be able to complement him. Hey, let me bring in my dog C3 Anthony into the building. Anthony, you're just in time, bro. We're talking about Bryce. Is he going to be able to repeat that type of performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Hey guys, I hope you all are doing good. Yeah, I believe he will. I think the big thing with him is, like, when he's got confidence, I mean, he's gonna build on that. I think this is kind of, I've been preaching patience with him. I knew, like, he was just not a good. I knew he wasn't not a good football player. I don't think that was the case at all. I just think there's been a lot of factors this season, and I brought up many times to you too, the mental state of the dysfunction in an organization. It's hard to overcome, especially when you just come into the NFL. I think this week he can have a good performance. Now again, I don't know. The defense is scary. I think what we should hope for is that Bryce finishes these last two games with good performances, because the defense is up in the air. Like, it's almost like we play such a good game on offense, and then the defense can't even, like, get off the field on a third down to save their life.
Isn't that crazy though? How the defense plays good, but the offense plays bad, but the offense plays good.
I know, it's so annoying, man.
I think it's a mental thing. I honestly think the football's got to be, like, highly mental, in the fact that, like, have you noticed? Okay, remember the Miami game? How we came up in, like, 2 touchdowns, and up to that point they weren't really doing a whole lot. Miami wasn't, and they were screwing it up. They were messing things up. I think there's some mentality there with, like, kind of, I don't know. Is anyone play Rocket League? If you're really, really good at a video game, and maybe you're kind of getting beat at the beginning, you're like, you kind of kick it into second gear. You're like, you know what? No, hold up. Let me fix this real quick. So I think there's a lot of mentality that we like. The stats leave that out. Statistical data leaves that kind of stuff out. You can't see that unless you watch the game with your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, that's great points. And when you think about this defense too, they haven't been great all year. They've been really good at times, but when it comes to situational football, I mean, one of the things that I felt about the Panthers for such a long time is they have this inability to play complementary football. And you're right. I do think that there is something mental to it. But I mean, dude, we need our coaches to get the most out of these players, and
Hey, Cody.
especially when we were relatively healthy, it leaves it all the more reason why it's like this is unacceptable. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, for all the people that keep saying Bryce played a bad defense, shut the hell up. Okay, Bryce was making tight-ass window throws. Like, some of those throws were just great throws. And I just don't understand why people are trying to take that away from him at all.
I mean, Anthony, I think if
Green Bay has a good secondary.
There's a group of
They have a
people,
solid secondary.
no matter what
Yeah,
the
they have
topic
Jair
is, there's going to be people on one side and people on the other side, and some people in the middle. And so no matter what it was, if it was a different team, if it was New Orleans, the same kind of the group of people would probably be saying the same thing. So it's going to, if we get a win this weekend and the weekend after, there's going to be that same group out there that are going to be highlighting some negligible, stat that they're, oh, look at this. It's because of this. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's going to keep happening. It will never not happen. Cam sees it to this day.
And at this point, it's like take a victory wherever you can get one. Like, I think we've all been pretty open and honest that throughout most of the season, that two things were true. Yes, the talent around Bryce was not very good. But there were also plays to be made that Bryce wasn't making. And I was pointing it out on the film room as well. But that's why when you have a game like this against the Green Bay Packers, I felt like a lot of the meat that he was leaving on the bone before, but now he's really starting to come along and make some of those throws that I felt like he might have missed earlier in the season. So you're seeing progression, you're seeing development. And yeah, if we go on to win the last two games of the season and end the year with 3 victories in a row, like how could you not at least be somewhat hopeful about the development of our quarterback if we're able to get a competent head coach in the building? Like
You certainly are.
Yeah.
You certainly
Well,
are going to
and-
be confident. And I'm not saying, like, listen, trust me, I've been critical of Bryce Young too. This has not even been the season I expected from him. But I think, Cody, you put it best, like on the post game and on the Tuesday show. That type of performance is like what gives you hope in knowing, like, okay, he can be a good quarterback. He just got to string more of these together. And I'm in the mindset, like, let's just put some more talent around him and see if he can, do things with that talent. I think that's really, I know people, we invested too much in him. I know everyone wants them to take a flyer on the quarterback in the second round. I just think we've invested too much into him to not at least give him 3 seasons to show us what he can do.
Agreed.
I think this season he hasn't been good. But again, like you
It's on
said,
the coaching.
he's left meat on the bone. And also, like, we are just now seeing, what DJ Chark constantly get open, in a game. And I
Coaching.
think that's also Thomas Brown. I think that's
Coaching and play
Thomas
calls.
Brown, yeah, Thomas Brown was letting Bryce Young throw down the field. And, I know, maybe Frank Reich didn't want Bryce Young. But I still think that's a lazy excuse for having a top quarterback prospect on your roster and not understanding, where his strengths are already.
Frank
So
didn't know what the hell
And
he
that's
was
why I
doing.
say Frank Reich held him back, man.
You did.
I'm telling you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that just makes Frank like a miserable human being. And I don't give a damn who hurts. Because I'm going to tell you why. There are times when you get hired to do a job. And you know what? The world don't revolve around you, Buttercup. You're not giving a soft schedule. You're not giving everything you want in life. Sometimes you have to take the bad. You didn't get your guy. Stop crying in the corner. Go out and do your fucking job. I mean, that's just But
I'm
one thing I'm gonna say, Bryce, if you start to have issues in these games, look for 82. Always look for 82. He got your back, bro. He got your back.
Yes, I mean, I'm happy that Tommy Trimble's finally coming along. I think, I don't know, to me, it's, I mean, we've talked about this all year about who wanted what quarterback, whatever. Dude, now I'm finally to the point where it's like, I'm done with it because we know that now the mission going forward is very clear, at least in my opinion. It's one, get a competent general manager because the Panthers have to be able to evaluate talent better than they have been. And then number 2, bring in a head coach that wants Bryce Young. Bring in a head coach that believes that Bryce can be the type of player that Anthony and G Baby always thought that he could and would be. That's the type of person that we need. I've said this multiple times before. Bobby Slovic is very high up on my list, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. And especially, like, let's say the Panthers fuck around and we get a W. And we actually beat the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday. That means that the Texans are going to have a chance to win that division. If the Texans win that division and make the playoffs, and Bobby Slovic is able to have CJ Stroud into the playoffs, I think that type of proven early success with a young quarterback like CJ would be very easily transferable to coaching up someone like Bryce. And I've said this before too. We all know that the Houston Texans, all of the rumors were that originally they were head over heels for Bryce Young, and that was the quarterback that they wanted. So if they originally wanted him, why not get the guy that is having success with a young quarterback that wanted Bryce Young? That's just my
Right.
opinion.
And also, to some of those who are still just anyway, a lot of the issues involving recently comparable is simply put is they are now scheming receivers open. They are now
Oh, God.
drawing
Which we
plays
had
on the
asked for
chalkboard
since
to
week 3.
get some of those open. And the simple fact that it took them all fucking year to do this is a sorry excuse of a
Well,
coaching staff, because it's a sorry excuse of those
It's
in
Frank.
management.
It's
Because
Frank.
the GM's job is to bring talent to the field, not give the best not to give the owner a hand job in a
True,
corner.
true,
Okay?
but Pickle,
If the GM doesn't get talent on the damn field, it don't matter who the fuck you draft.
well, you just said in that statement, you just said they're scheming people open. And it comes down to the coaching. It comes down. I mean, I got the numbers. I put them on Twitter. I've been looking at them. I hope you guys have been looking at them. It comes down to Thomas Brown is still a rookie, and it's, after a few games in, he started to find his grounding, and he actually knew what to call for the people on the damn field. And it's the main person is the problem. Obviously, is Tepper, and then it comes down to the GM, and then it comes down to, after that, being Frank Reich. Like, he needed to do with what he had in front of him. He needed to make something work, and he could have been doing the same thing, but he was too stubborn. So now we're seeing what we could have been had we done this from the damn beginning of the season, even with the pieces we have now.
But
It's
I
also
also want to say,
Wait, hold on, let me get some other people in here so that way we can get everybody in. Go ahead, pick one that I think Dominic. Anthony, and I think Dominic has something he was gonna say.
I just want to say real quick, when you invite 20 people into your home for breakfast, to a pancake breakfast, and you tell them to come, you're going to fix pancakes, you're going to fix bacon, you're going to have some other refreshments, whatever, and all these people are coming into your home to eat pancakes and bacon. They show up and they're getting a sausage biscuit from fucking McDonald's. I doubt they're going to be happy. That's exactly what we were off. We were told we getting lobster, and we walked in, and we got a cold
bowl of
hot dog.
oatmeal.
We don't even got the whole hot dog. We got a half a hot dog.
I don't know about
we got a bowl of oatmeal.
Serve you beer. They gonna serve your ass water.
We probably could have had Olive Garden had we started this way from the beginning of the season.
You're right.
Minus
but
the
a lot
injuries.
of that boils down to surrendering talent by Scott Fitterer that he didn't have to surrender, but he was only covering his own ass to start with.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's terrible. I don't even want to talk about him anymore. It gives me a headache. But
He's got to go.
What I wanted to talk about is, like, so Stratz brought it up, Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich knew his leash was short from the beginning, and that's why I think he had Bryce kind of playing like this safe kind of football, checking the football down. And I think that's also why you saw when they did take some deep shots, he was very inaccurate on them, because he was just now getting, involved in the throwing the ball deep. And I think that's something that, you're finally seeing Thomas Brown, work on him with. I mean, he made some tight window throws downfield. And I think, everyone's been questioning his arm strength. Yeah, he doesn't have the strongest arm, and it's probably around league average. But it's definitely, you can win with his arm, and I just think if we had someone that believed in Bryce Young from the beginning of the season, things would have gone a little smoother. And this is why I said we had to limit our expectations. Because me personally, I thought that this season was going to be about the development of Bryce Young and how, trying out things with him, see what works, sees what didn't. But this organization, and I get why. They wanted to win the division. If you wanted to try to win, you probably should have started Dalton. Because it's hard to ask a rookie to, play dink and dunk football with, no yak receivers and this and that. You need some experience on that end.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I just
Anthony,
think
My thing is,
it's in that data
My-
I showed. I have the pictures on Twitter. You have them. It literally shows you that they've taken more deep shots. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was saying my thing is you trade up for offensive player, but you trade your best offensive weapon. Like what?
Yeah.
Like why
And
would
then
you
you
trade
and
Brian
then you
Burns?
and then that's what I'm saying. You claimed that you love Brian Burns so much, and then didn't pay him, and then you didn't get first round picks for him on 3 different occasions when you had the opportunity to do so. So it's like, bro, I don't understand it. So now that's what I'm saying. Now the reason I'm hopeful for a few reasons, and then I'll move on. Is that one? There's a lot of good coaches out there, so it's not like I'm married to the idea of one of them. I would love Ben Johnson. I think that would be cool. I would love Jim Harbaugh, even though I don't think that's likely to happen. I don't mind Jim Harbaugh at all. Bobby Slovic is probably. I feel like I've been one of the loudest in favor of Bobby Slovic, so that's certainly one of them. Pickle has been kind of talking about Todd Monken a little bit, but yeah, man, it's one of those things where I do feel like we're in a good position to build because all of the things that we need are so obvious. We need another wide receiver. We need some more offensive linemen, and we need to add some more depth to that front seven and get some more pass rush. And I know it
talk
sounds
about
like
it.
a lot. Go ahead.
No, I thought you were about to bring up the elephant in the room. Go ahead. I just wanted to see what you were going to say.
Well, which one? Which elephant?
Anthony,
Brian
he's
Burns,
the elephant in the
how
room.
there is no pass
I-
rush when he's on the field. I watched the film,
Yeah.
and by the way, guys, great job on the film breakdown.
Appreciate
And
it,
go
bro.
check that out to all the viewers. I watched the film room, and you cannot tell me the pass rush has not looked any different than it did on Sunday than it did versus the Chicago Bears. And I think people were questioning, like,
Facts.
hey, we need Brian Burns on the team. Look at what the pass rush is doing without him. When he's on the field, the pass rush is the same. And I'm not even trying to hate on the guy anymore. I'm just saying this is the guy everyone wanted to pay so much money to.
He just needs a good coach in front of him that actually shows him where he's making the wrong moves. Because when you look at it, it's pretty clear. When you watch it in slow motion for 2 hours, it makes a lot of sense. You see the same
The
thing over and
strats.
over again. What?
Oh no, I was saying the strats. He's had 5 years. I mean, he's got to
Yeah.
have some type of different technique, you know.
And that's
He's
the thing
got
that makes
techniques, but he's not
it so
using
hard.
them.
That's
He's
the thing
using
that
them at
makes
the
it
wrong
so
times.
hard,
Go
though.
ahead, Cody.
Like if it was just 1 or 2 years in, sure. But I think Dominic makes a good point, though. It's like once you've spent so long developing a player, if you're not seeing a turnaround on your investment, then it's almost best to see what you can get for him, especially if you're not going to pay him the type of money that he's asking for.
I wasn't
Yeah.
advocating he stay here. I was saying he should go
Right. Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
else where another coach will take that up and fix that because he's
Okay,
clearly
right.
not doing it here.
Yeah.
My issue is I understand he's changed defenses. I understand he's lined up in a different position, but there are plays on the field when he's one-on-one with a tackle. He's one-on-one with a tight end. On multiple
Yeah.
occasions this year, and he can't beat that tight end to save his life.
He's just getting blocked.
He'll
That
beat them, but
Just washed
Pickle, he
out of
takes
the
the
play.
wrong
Why?
route.
Yeah, he gets blocked.
That's
He
not a
gets
He
guy
goes
you
left
keep
when he
long
needs to
term.
go right. He goes up when he needs to go down. Like he doesn't. He's
You're
never.
right, but
Yeah.
he's a veteran of 5 years. If he's a veteran of 5 years and his contract is up, and I think the Brian Burns you're seeing now is what you're going to get long term. Okay, even
Yeah, potentially.
before last year, he had 12 sacks. If you look up on the stats record before that, he never had over 9 sacks. So he wasn't a 12 or 15 sack guy to start with. Each year, we, not necessarily those on the panel, but fans in general, want to make up excuses why he don't get anywhere. And that I'm tired of excuses. It's like half these people still crying because Bryce is our quarterback. No, it's not about Bryce. It's not about Burns. It's about you and your inability to move on to that point. Fans, move on past the quarterback complaining, or I'm sorry, I want nobody to say this, but I'll say it. Or maybe you need to turn off football and pay attention to basketball or baseball, where they entertain fans better than the NFL does.
I mean, look, it's something that we've been discussing for a long time.
Can I add on to Pickle?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And you bring up a good point. Brian Burns, 63% of his sacks last year came unblocked. He's just not a strong guy. It's hard for him to beat the tackle fair and square. And I like what you brought up, Pickle, about the Bryce Young thing. Listen, Bryce Young has been underwhelming this season. But if you're in a mock draft and you're drafting J.J. McCarthy, this quarterback, you're just wasting your time, man. You have to accept the fact he's going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future until he isn't. It's just like, you got to accept the reality on some things. That's all it comes down to. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, Tony said we got an 18-month-long discussion on this Bryce Young situation, and that's exactly what it is. We got a year and a half to evaluate this guy and what he's going to be in the NFL. There's no reason to jump to conclusions or yell at the entire panel because you don't believe in him. That's okay. You don't have to. But the Panthers selected him number 1 overall and traded the farm to get him. So we might as well just cheer for him on Sunday and hope we see more success from Bryce. One of the things we did see was his intermediate passing game advance. We haven't seen him hit that many intermediate passes before. I've definitely not seen DJ Shark play the way that he played last Sunday for sure. It's got to be because Thomas Brown is growing and learning, just like Strats was saying earlier. He was 4 or 5 on post routes, whereas Frank Reich ran a lot of stick routes and a lot of out routes. Clearly, Frank Reich called those types of plays because he wanted to make sure that Bryce Young was safe with the football and didn't take chances and risk over the middle. So now we're seeing more of those chances and more of those risks with those post plays and slants that me and Panther Pickle have been calling for all season. So we're finally starting to see the Bryce Young that we wanted to see, even them moving him outside the pocket and off platform from under center in play action. These types of things are going to lead to more success. We just got to continue to run the football, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Very well said, man. Running the football and get better running the football. Put Gabe Jackson in there, who I think has been pretty good at guard. We could do better, but we're also not doing any better in the meantime. I like Gabe Jackson. We definitely need better interior play to the point where we've been wondering if that isn't the most pressing need on the Carolina Panthers. Hey, real quick.
Great super chat.
Yeah, man. Josh Dyson with the $9.99 says, correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't Bryce's deep balls been overthrown? If that's the case, it's not a matter of arm strength, but chemistry with timing and receivers.
I think it's that, but mainly accuracy.
He got arm strength.
Yes.
It goes.
He got arm strength, y'all.
Yeah, and if you compare that to Tua.
Where were you guys like 2 weeks ago? When I said this 2 weeks ago, no one backed me and it was dead quiet. And I was like, hey, he's overthrowing people. He just doesn't have accuracy, and that's because it's only been the past 4 weeks that they've started calling deep ball passes. So it's as obvious as it gets.
So look, just to play devil's advocate a little bit here, I still kind of agree with that because I think I'm not shitting on Bryce. I'm just saying arm talent in general. You can have a really good deep ball quarterback that still doesn't necessarily have a big time arm. Now, the case example I'll give for that situation is someone like Russell Wilson. When Russell Wilson was throwing dimes for the Seahawks, that dude was throwing bombs downfield. But I separate arm talent when it comes to driving the football on a line. I've noticed that some of those misses that Bryce had earlier this year, that they would tend to sail on him. And that almost says to me that it's not that the ball isn't getting pushed hard enough, like he's not driving the ball hard enough. I don't think that those things are correlated. However, I do think that this past game, you started to see more confidence from Bryce. And when Bryce is feeling confident, and when it does have that chemistry with his wide receivers, I feel like he's more aggressive and wanting to throw the ball, which makes that ball come out of his hand on time, on the money, and accurate, which is how Bryce Young plays his best football.
Do you remember that game that we just had with New Orleans, where it was bad score at the end? But up until like towards the end, it was kind of close. But then when you notice it, and I think fourth quarter, maybe end of third, they kind of you could see you kind of we were. I know we all were looking at screen going, what the hell? Why are we doing this? But what I think actually happened that game was I think Thomas Brown said, "Send it, just start throwing it everywhere. Who cares if you throw it intercept? It doesn't matter. Get comfortable with that ball." And I think that's the turning point. From that point on, we started seeing an uptrend. And I think it was like, dude, you need to just stop. It's an opposite mentality of what Frank was, where he's all conservative and trying to like hold him back. In this case, they're like, dude, I don't care if you get 15 interceptions. Get comfortable with that ball. And I think that's what we saw from that point on.
Yeah.
If I may add real quick about one thing I think that's helped quite a bit with Bryce is he's now, and this ain't happened but till here recently too, he's actually playing under center a lot more. And he has to get comfortable with that. But if I may try to answer a low key, had a question a while ago. He said Brown wasn't doing nothing against Green Bay. Why? And here's my opinion, and I posted that up there. I think a lot of that, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of that is a simple fact is he seems to be the only one right now getting pressure. The only one. And when you're a defensive lineman, be an inside guy on passing downs or an outside guy on main downs on base formations, if you're the 300-pound guy and you're the 320-pound guy, you're the only one getting pressure. It's easy for them to double you or triple you. And that's why the slander on Brian Burns is by myself. I'll blame myself. It is so high is because Derek Brown's job in a 3-4 as a lineman isn't to get a lot of sacks. It's to get pressure or stop the run.
Right.
It's the edge rushers, the YGMs, the Brian Burns' job to get pressure. And I'm sorry, I've seen Peppers play for years without help. I've seen Charles Johnson play years without help. I'm not giving to this bullshit. Burns ain't got help. That's just a crock of shit. If Burns needs 5 other guys near him to be able to play effectively, then he's not worth $15 million a year at all. Period.
So, yeah, we're gonna continue to have this conversation for a long time to come into the off season. And let me welcome my guy Cole into the building. C3 Cole, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Cody Lack? What's going on, the rest of the panel, fellas? Hope everybody's had a good week. How you doing, man?
How you doing?
Appreciate it. Everything's good, man. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, man. And hey, we're not done. Hey, Happy New Year to you, man. Hey, Happy New Year to everybody coming up here soon, man. We're gonna be welcoming 2024, and hopefully a better year for the Carolina Panthers, man. But hey, you know what? We're not done breaking down this Jacksonville Jaguars matchup. And how about we do that with our favorite sponsor, PrizePicks.com, man. Listen, everyone is winning money playing daily fantasy sports on PrizePicks.com. If you would like to support the pod, download PrizePicks today and play daily fantasy sports with us. Make sure you use our promo code C3 when you sign up, or use the link in the description. All first-time users that deposit and use our C3 promo code receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks will give you 100. If you deposit 50, PrizePicks will give you 50. Now, we've been showing this on PrizePicks. They have these goblins and demons going on. So they'll give you a number, and basically if it has a little demon next to it, they do not expect this player to go more than that number. So let me ask y'all this. Right now, I've got Adam Thielen at just a touchdown, but it shows you how much he's fallen off. I mean, in terms of targets, I would say. They also have a devil for his receiving yard number at 69.5, but they have Bryce at with the devil at 224.5 passing yards. So even with this Jacksonville Jaguars team kind of reeling, kind of injured, they still don't love those numbers for Bryce and Adam Thielen. I want to know what y'all's opinion is. They got Brian Burns with a demon at 0.25 sacks. That means they don't even expect Brian to get half a sack. What does that tell y'all about how the people at large think about Brian Burns? But some other interesting numbers here. Bryce Young, they have a normal 173 passing yards, 173.5 passing yards rather. Chuba Hubbard, let's see what they got at Chuba, 99.5 rushing yards. So they also have two different versions. They have a demon, which has the higher amount that they don't expect him to achieve. Then the goblin, which they do think that he's going to hit. So I don't know, man. Some interesting numbers. Is there any number in particular y'all wanting to look at, man? I know they have DJ Chark at 25.5 receiving yards. That's not terrible.
Oh, that's more. You got to take the more on that.
Yeah.
We need him.
Let me see what else they got there. Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, they have Chuba. Yeah, like I said, they have two for Chuba. What about DJ Chark? There have to be some more for DJ. Damn, they only have two for DJ. Miles Sanders, they got at 49.5 rushing yards. Oh, how about this one?
Under.
How about that one, though? Tommy Tremble, 11.5. What's he been averaging? So the past few games in a row, they've really made it a point to get the ball in Tommy Tremble's hands. Now, he was listed as questionable with the back injury, but
Tommy's been playing like a Panthers player that wants to win football games. We saw the same kind of play out of Laviska Shenault last year, where he's breaking tackles and making plays. We're seeing that same kind of play out of Tommy Tremble this year. He's committed to this Panthers team, and he's trying to find a way to help us win. I'd take the over on that one, or more than, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Adam Thielen. Yeah. You had Adam Thielen up earlier, Cody. Adam Thielen actually led this team in receptions yards last week. Even though Shark had the 2 touchdowns, Thielen had 94 yards receiving against Sharks, I think 88 or something like that.
Yeah, they've Adam Thielen is they have 2 different numbers for him. I'm trying to find the Jaguars to see what numbers they've got. All right, so look, they have CJ Beathard at 224 passing yards. That's absurd to me. Do y'all think that CJ Beathard's going to throw for that amount?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Nah, it's going to be too ugly of a game for that, honestly.
Yeah. What about Calvin Ridley? Y'all think he's going to get a rushing or receiving touchdown?
Maybe.
You got 2 last week? Oh, I might need to go with that one. I mean, that's just a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Bro, so right now, hey, get in on this action. I picked 3 demon numbers. Right now, $20 would win me $730. Bro, y'all have to get in on this prize pick action, man. We have so many C3 fans that have really been, they've been making some cheddar with these here prize picks, man. Let me go one more. Travis Etienne, and they said they've just been averaging. Oh man, that's tough. But dude, knowing how the Panthers are not defending the run very well,
that's
right.
Yeah. Well, where's his rushing yards? Oh, they had him at 60.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
don't take it at all, or
I wouldn't take him at all.
Yeah, that's a crapshoot. Yeah, who they could rush good, they could rush bad. I mean, chances are they'll rush good. I would think.
Chances are we're not going to be scared of C.J. Beathard throwing a football. So we may actually have more guys in the box.
It'd be nice.
I mean, I like the idea anyway. That's what I do, but I'm not the coaching staff. So
maybe one day, Pickle.
We should be.
I can't do worse. I probably do better.
All right, I think I'm gonna hit this. I think I'm gonna hit this.
Madden, I can follow Madden 24's football schedule or playbook.
Pickle, I'm out here coaching them up right now, sir.
Just as good as Thomas Brown. I'd probably use. I might use 21 playbook instead. I like that a little better.
All right, well, this would be my Panther Jaguar entry for PrizePicks.com, man. So there you have it. My final entries were. Let me get down to my entry. Open entries. Yeah, so I got Bryce Young. I went for it, man. I went with the power play. Maybe I'm crazy. Who knows, man? I want to try this out. I got more than 224 passing yards. Dude, that's so much. I got Adam Thielen getting a rushing or receiving touchdown. I got C.J. Beathard at less than 224.5 passing yards, and Calvin Ridley at least one rushing or receiving touchdown. Once again, man, if y'all would like to participate, make some money on PrizePicks playing daily fantasy sports, use our C3 promo code when you sign up. All first-time users that deposit and use our C3 promo code receive a 100% instant deposit match up to 100. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks will give you 100. If you deposit 50, PrizePicks will give you 50. If you would like to support us and our sponsors, please do so in the link below, man. We appreciate y'all. Jay Thomas with the $5 says, if we win out the next two games, would we still give the Bears the first pick? Does anybody know the standing? Right now, let's check.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Well, I think
because you're looking at if Arizona, who right now is 3-12, if they win while we win, then probably not. But you also got Washington, who's 4-11, and New England, who's 4-11. So, and then a whole bunch of teams that's 5-10. So it all depends on what they do while we do. So
yeah, Arizona has to lose one.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Right now they lose one, we win one, then and at the same time, if we win both our games and Arizona wins one of their games, then we still give the Bears the first pick and Arizona gets the second pick. But that's dependent on what Washington and New England does.
So as of right now, the Bears, they are picking number one because of us, because of our record. Then it goes Arizona, Washington. And by the way, I haven't even heard rumors that Caleb Williams still does not want to go to the Bears. So the new ownership in Washington apparently is already in love with the kid. So there's a lot of trade rumors that are already kind of spreading. But yeah, right now the order is the top 10 is Chicago 1, Arizona 2, Washington 3, New England at 4, Giants 5, Chargers 6, Titans 7, Jets 8, Chicago again at 9, and them damn dirty turds at 10.
Seattle the Cardinals, they play Philly and the Seahawks. So I mean, they do play Philly and the Seahawks. So the chances of them winning both their games are negligible. Washington, on the other hand, their next two games. Oh, great day! The next two, Washington's will have the first overall pick, y'all.
Yeah.
Their next two games are San Francisco and Dallas.
You know, I can't lie at this point.
Right.
I kind of hope we beat the Jags because even though I'm a fan of also them, I kind of think that they need a higher pick because Trent Baalke, the GM there, who also needs to be fired and let go, did a horrible job last year in drafting more for depth rather than need, which is what he should have done and not gone for depth. So I'm hoping we win mostly so we get a higher pick and maybe he's gone. But, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like I've kind of already accepted that the Panthers are going to give the Bears the number 1 pick. It's like, I mean, again, we might be able to fuck around and win these next 2 games, but even if we don't, like, I don't know, man, I've already accepted it. Like, it kind of just, it's been like that for so long this season. It's, I don't know. However, if we do win too, does anybody know what the lowest pick that we could give them is? So obviously we could give them number 1, but let's say we win 2 in a row. So what? We'd probably be like 4 or 5. Let's say yeah. I mean, literally, we would be somewhere between 3 and 4 that we would be giving Chicago. Wow.
Not a whole lot of comfort there, Cody. I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm still in the denial phase myself. I'm glad you've gotten to acceptance. I'm just going to continue to deny the fact that the Bears are getting such a high draft pick from the Panthers. That's my strategy.
I know they're going to have 2 top 10 picks, man. Rough. You hate to see it.
Cody, it feels like a lazy take for me, but as long as it's not the number 1 overall pick, I feel like that'll take some of the sting away.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. No, that's not lazy at all, man. Like, why would you want to give away the number 1 pick in the draft?
I just feel like that would hurt a lot more. I don't know why.
Yeah, it would hurt, man. I mean, look, especially like, I don't know, the whole quarterback discussion, man. There's so many quarterbacks coming through this draft, but dude, our quarterback showed a sign of life.
He's better
That's
than all
what we're
of
going
them.
to cling on to, man.
This schedule's almost unfair, y'all. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was eyeballing. I was trying to figure out just what the question was. Glancing at the schedules. The Bears' next 2 games are Atlanta this week and Green Bay next week. The Bears should win both of them.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
Off the surface, I'm not. I mean, and hey, Washington benched their quarterback, right? And they're planning to start Brissett.
Yes.
Well, today I
But
heard
he's
on NFL radio that Brissett's hurt, so they may not get the bench Hal anyway. How can you be a backup your whole year, and just when you get to go in, you got stomach pain or you got a side ache or something? You're hurt. I mean,
he wasn't ready to practice. He wasn't ready to practice.
He didn't want to go out there. He said, "No, man, my back hurting. I can't go out there. I got a side ache over here. I can't go out there, boss."
White Chocolate Espresso was talking about how the Bears were expected to possibly trade back from their highest pick and get more draft picks for next season. So that might be a scenario we see trade out or play out. I talked to a Bears fan on the Tuesday night space, and he was saying that in his view, he wanted to keep Fields at quarterback, draft Marvin Harrison with their higher pick, and then trade back with their lower pick or that Bears actual pick, trade back, and then stack those picks again for next season. I didn't know how you guys felt. Do you feel like it's written in stone that the Bears go after Williams or May?
Well, part of that equation is what we were talking about with Brian Burns, right? Like Strats was saying, well, he needs the proper coaching. Right, but he's on his 4th or 5th year. Justin Fields would have to make a decision on his 5th year option, I believe. So again, do you get the chance to start over at a position that ends up becoming the most expensive position on your entire football team? So it gives you a longer leash to be able to make a decision on how you're going to build your offense, and you're not paying that big time quarterback money. Another thing to think of, Dees, is that, if they did decide to move on, they would be able to trade Justin Fields somewhere. And I don't know what they would get for Justin Fields, but there is going to be a football team that is almost going to kind of do what the Panthers tried to do with Sam Darnold. Take a flyer on this guy that has a bunch of upside, that was drafted high for a reason, and maybe you can turn him around. I've even heard a lot of people mention Atlanta in that scenario. That Justin Fields, being from Georgia, he originally committed to Georgia. That if he went to Atlanta, that would be a match made in heaven for everyone. So
and
I don't know. The Bears have a lot of options on their table.
also, according to ESPN, if they put the fifth-year option on Fields, it's $23.3 million for 1 year. As soon as he signs it, it's guaranteed. That's a lot of money for a quarterback you ain't 100%
Yeah,
certain is going
that's
to make it. And
that
their cap
factors into it.
space going into next year is $60 million, but still they have other needs. So I mean, that's
That
that's
doesn't a lot of that depend on Eberflus pickle? Like if they retain Eberflus or not at head coach, like whether or not they would go with a new quarterback. What do you think?
well, if they let Eberflus go and they get a new head coach, it may be dependent on the head coach. I mean, it really does. And then at the same time, if you're Johnson, the guy Ben Johnson, if you're Ben Johnson and Chicago's offering you the job, you got 2 first-round picks, a rookie quarterback that you get to pick, and weapons already there. Compared to come here when here is your quarterback that you're going to use, and yeah, we don't have a lot of anything else either. So I mean, if you're Ben Johnson, my friend, who are you going to take?
Yeah, I don't know, but I like that scenario you laid out for Ben Johnson or Jim Harbaugh, maybe even for Chicago. They would probably go that route that you just laid out. I don't like the idea of Justin Fields going to Atlanta whatsoever. I haven't heard a whole lot of rumblings of Smith being fired. It seems like they're going to bring him back and run it back. He's dedicated to the running game, giving him a weapon like Fields in that running game and that stable of running backs that they've built up over the last few seasons would be absolutely horrible for Carolina, especially if we go forward in that 3-4 defense and Evero, like we haven't been able to stop the run, and it's widely known that's a flaw of the 3-4, and that could just be absolute kryptonite for the Panthers.
Right. You also got to look at the Patriots situation, because you don't know what they're going to do either. Right now, one would assume that they're going to hire their new head coach from within, but we don't know that. So if Belichick goes and Robert Kraft is there, the Patriots are in the top 5 right now in the draft class. They could easily trade up and do they already surrender Mac Jones?
Pickle, one of the things I've heard, and I know you've even kind of been on to this. You know how you said there was a fracture in the Tennessee Titans organization between Mike Vrabel and the new general manager. Because Vrabel didn't want to get rid of AJ Brown, and he didn't want to draft Will Levis, and that they did. I've even heard it said that the New England Patriots, they could even trade and give some picks to Tennessee to get Mike Vrabel back to be the Patriots head coach. I mean, because he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots.
Right.
So
that GM for the Titans, he's very he's very hard. He's wanting to rebuild so bad. If you watch him talk one day, you'll recognize he wants to rebuild everything. And I think he believes Mike Vrabel's in his way.
Yeah. No, I hear that. He might indeed be in his way. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to use that as a pinpoint. Wait, Dominic, did you have something to say? I didn't gloss over you, did I? Dom, you still there? All right, we'll move on a little bit. I wanted to bring all this up with you guys. I wanted to move on to something that was more like around the NFL related. Again, we can go back to the Panthers whenever we want, but I wanted to bring this up. I want to get everyone's Super Bowl matchups. Like, what are the matchups that you think are the most likely, and what are the ones that you would like to see happen? So right now, PFF has these as the most likeliest as the most likely of Super Bowl matches. Right now, at 17.9%, they have last Monday night game, which was the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco, as the highest probability at 17.9%. The Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles at 10.1%. Dolphins at 49ers at 8.2%. Ravens and Lions at 6.4%. Ravens and Cowboys at 6%. And the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers at 5.1%. They don't even have the matchup I want to see. I've said this before.
Right.
Yeah, just like Patty Grimes says in the chat, the Lions and the Browns. That's what I'm crossing my fingers for. That's the one I want to see.
Everybody's
I
sleeping on
want
the
to see
Browns,
that
man.
one. Yeah, I know, right?
The
Joe
NFL,
Flacco Joe Flacco going to the Super Bowl
Yeah.
for the Browns could change the face of the league. We may see a
Right.
return of veteran quarterbacks like Cam Newton. Go ahead, Pickle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
No,
what
you're
I'm
good. Hey,
saying.
listen, dude. You know as well as I do. Right now, Roger Goodell is meeting secretly with a bunch of owners saying, how can we stop the Browns and the Lions? This is not what we want to see in our grand event. You know that's happening. But you know what? I'm not certain, and I'm still not. I believe Baltimore is going to make it. I don't believe that there's anybody in the AFC that can stop Baltimore. I really don't. I think Kansas City. I think there's confusion. I don't think Kansas City has enough talent on their team to stop anyone. Um, I I like to think the Browns do, but the Browns are winning right now with a bunch of backups. They really are. And Joe Flacco's still old. He's going to run out of gas. Um, I'm just going to say I think the Ravens will get it. And you know what? I'm going to go for broke. I'm still not 100% believer in Brock Purdy, so I'm going to go Ravens and Lions.
That's not a bad one. Ravens and Lions is not yeah, right now that's a 6.4%. That'd be a fun one. Nah, that Ravens Lions Super Bowl would be insane. Says Dopey Nightlife TV. Absolutely. I want CMC to get a ring, says Jay Thomas. Yeah, man. Dude, and shout out to Strats. He had something that he wanted to bring up, but he had to get some stuff done today. But when it comes to the MVP, do y'all think Christian could win it this year? Or is it always going to be a quarterback award?
I don't think.
I think he should over Brock Purdy.
Oh,
for sure.
I do too.
Definitely.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely. But I've said it before. The MVP is a quarterback award. They should change it to the most popular quarterback award. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been talking about that for a long time. JJ Watt, he was really disappointed that he lost that MVP award the one year that Aaron Rodgers won it. Yep. And he made a good point that there should be an award for the best player in football and the MVP. Because the most valuable player is always going to be the person that touches the ball every snap on offense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a reason why it's a quarterback award. But there should also be like a best player in the NFL award that is more open to other players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Anyone else want to jump on here? What's our Super Bowl matchups that y'all looking forward to, man?
Cody, my Super Bowl isn't even on there. Unbelievable. I thought there would be some sort of odds for Philly and Kansas City, and I don't see any.
You think it'll be a repeat? Damn, you really think KC's going to make it back to the Super Bowl?
I just think they're going to get warm at the right time. They haven't played really great or peak yet, and it's coming, I feel like.
Okay.
I'm not betting against Mahomes until somebody knocks him out of the playoffs.
I hear you loud and clear, man. I don't blame you at all, man. If you want to beat the champs, you got to beat the champs.
Absolutely.
As they are known the same. Dopey said pickle. I don't see Dakota Dak taking Dallas to the first round of the playoffs because the Eagles and 49ers defense is going to have a say in who takes it. Yeah, man, people forget defense wins championships, and right now there's a lot of good defenses playing ball right now. D's, what's your odds-on favorite for the Super Bowl? Which one do you want, and which one do you expect to see?
Oh, I knew you were going to do that to me. Ooh, I knew you were. Okay, so what I want is a rematch of the game we saw just last Sunday. I want to see the Dolphins and the Cowboys go for very selfish reasons. I was a Dolphins fan before the Panthers got started in '95, and Cowboys. I got multiple friends that are Cowboys fans. So if they go deep into the playoffs, I still got friends to watch football with besides my friends here on C3. So I would like to see the Dolphins and the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl if that's possible.
What?
But in terms of the MVP race, like you were talking about McCaffrey, and that's what my wife really wants. She wants McCaffrey to win it all. You know, she wants him to get that Super Bowl because he deserves it. And she's always been a huge fan, and she's hardly been a Panthers fan since we traded him. And it sucks so bad on Sundays because I miss watching games with her as much as we used to. But I don't think there's a chance that McCaffrey can win that MVP now because of that performance that Lamar put up to him on him. Just the other day, Lamar and the Ravens, they looked so good against San Francisco, and I had no idea that they would be able to dog San Francisco out like they did. Like, they had no pop on offense. They had no kind of answer to the Ravens. And we can talk more about the Ravens later, sure. But who I think's going, probably so. They're the best team in football, the Ravens are. They're going to be there, and I kind of believe in that second one on the list is what will actually happen. I still believe in the Eagles, and let me tell you why. I think the Eagles can make it back to the Super Bowl as the most realistic chance because of their running game. They can run the football, rain, snow, dome, turf, grass, shine, whatever, doesn't matter. The Eagles can run the football, and that tends to win games. And they have a pretty good defense as well. Of course, every one of those defensive players is from Georgia, along with Jalen Carter, who the Panthers could have had if we had just stayed at number 9. But that's what I see. I think choice number 2 at 10.1%, the Ravens and the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. Bird fight. Somebody put it in the chat.
Eagles are frauds.
Eagles are frauds, you said?
Yeah, man. They're frauds. They've been playing bad football.
Yeah, their offense is not what it was. I think they're hurting losing Shane Steichen.
See, I think what the Baltimore did to the 49ers the other day, I think that uncovered the secret to the 49ers. Beat up don't let their quarterback just sit back in that pocket. Beat him up a little bit. And when they do that, I think it's a secret to beating San Francisco. Because that Brock Purdy was just got his butt whooped the other night. And I'm sorry, people don't like it, but he was the reason they lost that game.
Hey, man, put in Sammy Dimes. Sammy Dimes.
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Put in Sammy Dimes, man.
That's what we need to do. We need to watch Sam Darnold and Christian McCaffrey take the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
Damn.
That would make us feel a whole lot
and
better.
Steve Wilkes. Don't forget Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, Steve Wilkes.
Getting the ring as a defensive coordinator. I mean, look, honestly, any of those teams that have Panthers players rocking for them, yeah, man, like, I'm not mad at if San Fran wins it. I would love to see CMC get a ring. Yeah, man, like I said, I just want that underdog matchup. That's why I love the Browns and the Lions. Like, two teams that have just been dumpster fires for the past 3 decades or more. You know what I mean? And
like, y'all read that. Shout out to Muscles. I understand that.
He said his sister-in-law is an Eagles fan. Any team but them, please. They're already ruined my Tommy Cutlets era. Oh, shit, damn. And don't you love it when you have siblings that are fans of division opponents, man? Like my brother's a New Orleans Saints fan.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, anytime the Saints beat the Panthers, I always got to hear about it, man.
My brother is a Browns fan. And he claims that he quit watching them over when they signed the massagist, and but
Deshaun
yet
Watson.
he texted me the other day and said, "How about them Browns going to make the
Uh,
playoffs?"
so
I thought
he's
you didn't
loving
want
it
them
now.
anymore. And he
Yeah,
ain't
he's
responded
loving
back
it
to me
now.
yet.
Hey,
My
isn't it a
nephew
miracle
responded.
what a few
Yeah,
wins will do?
yeah, exactly. My nephew's a Ravens fan, and he goes to community college up there in West Virginia, and he don't get to watch it often. But he texted me and he said my Ravens going to the Super Bowl. I said they got to go through the Browns first, according to your daddy. And,
Hey man, that'll be incredible if that is what ends up happening. I do think that Baltimore and San Fran are probably going to be the most likely matchup. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of done with the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, even though the Eagles.
I am too, honestly.
Yeah, like honestly, pick. I know you don't want to hear this. I'd prefer to see the Cowboys in the game than the Eagles. If I'm being honest.
I don't. A lot of people may think the Cowboys have improved. To me, I don't see the Cowboys getting past the playoffs.
No, I don't think so either. No, I don't think so either. By the way, they lost to Miami by I think like 30 points or something. Or no, I forget who it was that beat them that bad. But there's never been a team to lose by 30 points in December that has ever gone on to win a Super Bowl in the past like 30 years or something like that.
That brings up another conversation. Does Jerry Jones pull the trigger on his coach if Dallas loses in the playoffs?
Probably so. Probably so. It's the same thing with Bills and McDermott. If they're going to the playoffs and lose again, I think so, man. Like you just start to stagnate at that point.
But if the Bills fire McDermott, I'll be honest with you, they're going to go back to dumpster fire Bills. They really are going to go right back to the dumpster.
Hey, does that allow us to interview him, panel, please? Can we interview McDermott if he gets fired? I ain't saying hire him. Can he get an interview? I think we owe him that.
If he gets fired before he gets home to kiss his wife, I've got a phone call to hire him.
Hey, it depends. How you feel about his 9/11 comments?
I don't give a damn.
Who gives a damn?
I forgot all about that shit.
Yeah, right. Who gives a damn? People were trying to throw him
tell
under
you,
the bus.
over half the people, not now because a lot of the younger folks weren't really adults back then, but half the people from my generation who were adults still have it in their stupid head. It was all a government fraud. It was all sponsored by the government. The government allowed it to happen. It was all political move. That's a stupid opinion, in my opinion. And half the people still believe that about 9/11. And I've heard worse comments about 9/11. To be bluntly honest, not being mean, I have heard worse comments, analogies.
Well, look, I don't care what you believe. I don't claim to know anything about the world that we live in. I'm just saying that what they did to McDermott, bro, someone had an axe to grind, and that's the only reason. That's the only reason that shit ever came out, man.
That dude that reported that, did you ever hear his name before or after?
No, but I think the point is that McDermott, you have to give him credit for turning around that Bills team to the point that they have, Right. I mean, you have to give him that credit. By the way, that's another team that no one mentioned. No one's picking the Bills to make a run into Super Bowl either. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right now, a lot of these teams, a lot of these playoff teams, they're beating useless teams. They're beating teams that are hyped up. People hype up the Jets, and the Jets suck. And I think it's a mistake not firing. I think the Jets are a clusterfuck. I think they've always been a clusterfuck. They still are a clusterfuck. I think they got an overhyped defense and a overhyped head quarterback. I think the worst thing that the Jets did was trade for the old man who should have retired 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, they got Wilson. Wilson's not any better, Pickle. I don't know about that take. I can't stand watching the Jets. And the worst part about watching the Jets on prime time is they've been loaded up all season long, and I've been subjected to that horrible offense that looks just as bad as a Panthers offense. Is the fact that we had to play them in training camp in the preseason, and I knew right then that we were off to a sluggish start. Like the start that the Panthers got off was absolutely tragic. It's no surprise that took until week 16, week 15 for us to start to see Bryce Young and this offense blossom and emerge as what it should have been right there in the preseason. That Jets football team ain't even a good football team, and they absolutely whooped the pants off the Panthers. We were so unprepared to start this season. I'm still mad and sick about that to my stomach. And when we go into next season and those preseason football games happen, I'm going to pay attention and I'm going to take it seriously because I know nobody does. They say, oh, well, it's just preseason. Y'all lost. If we look bad, we look bad. And that's what I'm going to expect. I'm going to expect us to look bad for a few games into the season.
Especially after this year, D's. When we were talking, nothing to see here. This terrible offense. Hey, it's not a problem. And then we go into the season, and our offense looks identical. So 100%.
A lot of us fell into that trap before the draft, and we stayed in that trap all the way through preseason. And you remember a while back when I said we can only look at ourselves in the mirror and say you knew better. You felt you knew better. When I said that, I was talking about the whole thing, from hyping up this guy to hyping up the entire team, and following through preseason when they said, "Oh, it's just preseason. We're not trying real hard. We're not got all the playbook." I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, "You dumbass, you know better." I mean, you know better. That's like knowing the cop's down the road, knowing he's sitting there waiting on you, and my dumb ass flooring the truck. I mean, I know that I'm going to get stopped. So, I mean, it's just, you know better to fall for that shit.
And not only that, Pickle, but the team being so unprepared in the preseason was an immediate indictment on Frank Reich. And I just want to give another shout out to C3 Cole because he was the first one to point it out that Frank Reich didn't belong as head coach on this team. The rest of us were like, okay, why don't we hire Frank Reich? But Cole was the first one to stand up and say.
My ass was screaming it early. I was upset.
Yes, we was.
But he saw the early indicators of how bad this team was going to be under Frank Reich.
And I knew it was over.
Right. But yeah, I've been wrong before about things, and I just, yep.
You mean you've been wrong, Pickle? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, there's been times I looked at my own self and said, "Shut the hell up."
Damn, that's wild, man.
And it wasn't even the record, Cody, and it wasn't even. It was just the morale and just he's just such a dry person. He's not a leader. Man. He's doomed here for that shit.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's why I'm hoping. I need to watch some more interviews. I tell you, maybe that's what we'll do next Friday. Maybe we'll start looking at some interviews from some of these coaching candidates. Right. And start to kind of go over some of the pluses and minuses of some of these guys. But I do like to listen whenever we're doing this type of thing, like interviewing coaches or whatever, even going through the draft. Like I look up interviews. I don't just watch film. I go and try and learn about the player. I listen to their interviews, listen to how they think, how they talk. I think that's, a lot of times revealing. And especially when you're talking about coaching and what kind of leader someone is, I think it's important to listen to these guys talk and judge them by what they say. Hey, I got the homie Strats back in the building. Strats, what up, dude?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I forgot I got these Bluetooth headsets for Christmas, so I completely spaced out on it. But I had to keep it. You don't hear any like noise background or anything like that, do you?
Oh
no, you're good.
No, good. These are dope.
Hey man, we started talking a little bit about that MVP thing, like damn near right after you left too. I'm like, all right, of course. But if you wanted to bring that up again, we can, and then we can move on to our game picks.
I mean, I guess it's relatively simple and straightforward. The concept was really just that everyone's talking about. I wanted to be selfish and save this topic for, I don't have a podcast, but if I had a podcast, this is what I put on it because I have some data on it and everything, but everyone's talking about who they want in the MVP race, right? But no one's talking about the, how did I word it? What was the word I used for it? Like not platform, but like the way, let me see, hold up.
I can bring
everyone's talking about,
right?
Yeah, and everyone's talking about who they want in the MVP race, right? But no one's exactly talking about the what was the exact word that I said?
You put the framework surrounding the discussion.
The framework surrounding it, exactly. And the problem with that is that you have one person that says, "Oh, look at this." I thought about this earlier today when someone was trying to make an argument for Lamar, and I'm not saying Lamar's not an MVP, but what I am saying is they used his exact passing yards for the season, which was like 3,359, something like that, right? But they're including yards after catch, which, personally, I wouldn't include that stat, because if you have someone like Tua throwing to someone like Tyreek, you're gonna have a lot more yards after the catch. And if you want to talk about that specifically, I think we had this discussion. CK was in that chat.
Oh, poor fella.
Hey, you dropped out, Strats. We can't hear you no more.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they got Strats.
The Bluetooth
Can you hear me?
headsets have
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah.
So we had a whole bunch of people. CK was in the chat when we were talking about this, and we were kind of like looking at it and saying like, well, yards after the catch. I mean, I don't know. I guess the point is that we need to have a real true discussion about the framework about what an MVP is, because if one person uses yards after the catch and one person does not use yards after the catch, we need to kind of standardize what metrics we're utilizing for this. Plus, how are you going to compare Christian McCaffrey as a running back to someone as a quarterback? McCaffrey clearly is not going to have MVP. Should be down to most valuable player and what that really means to making the team excel.
Yeah.
So I think we should have a discussion around the framework. That's all it is in a nutshell.
Stats, I agree with you. Yeah, right. I really do 100%. I know how they currently do it because I've asked a few reporters in the past, and I've got some good answers. How they currently do it, and I've heard this explained on XM radio, how they do that is they simply have a group of people, most of them reporters.
25 sports writers, you're correct.
All they do is give their opinion.
Agreed.
Give their opinion, which is pathetic. That's why if for the last few years since McCaffrey didn't win it a few years ago for the Panthers, I refuse to call that an MVP award. To me, it's the most popular award.
Well, even if we take them out of the equation, like let's take them out of the equation and we just look simply at Twitter and the people talking about this person, no, I like that person. Everyone's using different metrics and different statistical. Oh, look at this. This person's only using rushing yards. This person is using passing yards. Like, we're not consistent across the board. We have no framework of discussion. Everything's all like blotched all over the place. Nothing is real, true, and standardized. So the discussion makes no sense to have.
When you say it was Cody, JJ Watts, I liked his idea because you have, I mean, a lot of folks say, well, you got to give it to quarterback because he touches the ball more. Of course he does. He's a quarterback. Right, he's supposed to. You're going to criticize the kicker because he ain't got passing yards? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quarterback award. You're also disregarding, however, all the incredible players that are doing most of that work. And I agree with Strats. Like, if you have a Tyreek Hill, like y'all remember a few years ago when Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs and they would snap the ball, and basically Tyreek would be going in front of Patrick on the jet sweep, and Patrick would just toss the ball up in the air, like just right in front of him, just up in the air. And then when the ball comes down, Tyreek grabs it, and he would run like 65 yards for a touchdown. Well, that counts as a pass for Patrick Mahomes, even though he did nothing but flip the ball up in the air.
Flip the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's why I certainly award. Yeah, I certainly hear. I hear what Strats is talking about. Like a lot of it isn't fair. Again, like JJ Watt was saying, when you have a quarterback and they're touching the ball every play on offense, it's like the MVP is always going to be a quarterback award. There needs to be something. There either needs to be a different award that's more accessible for other positions to win, like best player in the league, or they need to open up the MVP to more players other than a quarterback. And I think no matter how it ends, I don't think there's been a more impressive person all year than Christian McCaffrey.
Can I read this exchange, Cody? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but can I highlight the points? I don't know. You know what? Should I call him out by name or no?
Do it, man.
Why not?
2 growls, 1 roar. I'm coming at you with this one. You're my ice up for the week because you said something about you had this big long thing about you want Lamar, and I'm not saying I don't want Lamar. I think he's in my top 2. I got CMC and Lamar up there, but here's the thing: your data is. I think your percents are off. You said Lamar's responsible for 71.5% of the Ravens' total offense, 3,357 passing yards. My response to that was, I agree with you, but I think your 71.5 is wrong. Is it including yards after the catch? What about on touchdown passes? Are you throwing to someone that's in the end zone and they're already there, or are they catching the ball and then having to run and work to get there? Because that changes things. His response.
Yeah. Oh, we lost you again, Strats. Hold up, we lost you again, man. We gotta wait till
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yep, loud and clear.
This is quote unquote, dude, do you not know how passing yards work? You think all QBs are only credited for the yards in the air. So I want to ice him up because here's the thing. If you're sitting there looking at how things have always been done and not looking for progress in the light of trying to define this, then I gotta ice you up. You can't just be living in the past on this kind of stuff. And if that's the case, and I see a lot of people that are using yak or yards after the catch for this, let's change this. Let's solidify this. Let's put it into a paradigm that we all agree on for an MVP conversation. I don't think yards after the catch should be in there because you got things like Steve Smith who's gonna go buck wild and just go crazy, and like you can't account for that. You can't account for things like play calling, where you can't account for things like blown coverages in defense. That cannot be attributed to that stat. You cannot do it. It's poor data science, and I'm sorry, I'm icing you up.
Ice up. No, you're right. I'm glad that you brought it up. It's definitely something that I think needs amending. Something else I'm also happy you brought up, bro. Steve Smith, yet again for the 3rd year in a row, not a Hall of Fame finalist. However, we did get another victory, even though it wasn't Steve Smith. Julius Peppers is a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One, how do y'all feel about Smitty not making it? Do you think he ever will? And how do you feel about Julius Peppers being a finalist for the Hall of Fame?
No, I'm extremely happy that Julius Peppers is a finalist, and I have a good feeling that he might make it in this year, and that would be a fantastic win for the Panthers. We've got Sam Mills in there, but Sam Mills, of course, played with the Saints as well, a division rival. The Saints somewhat claim him to that dome patrol or what have you. But, of course, Sam Mills created our mantra of keep pounding. So we're going to claim him for the Panthers. But I think Peppers gets in, and he should be at being the 2nd overall pick in the illustrious career he had for the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately for Steve Smith, the problem is not necessarily Steve's numbers or Steve's play on the field. It's that there's a backlog of wide receivers that haven't been put into the Hall of Fame. I know Panther Pickle posted earlier today that they should up the amount of people going into the Hall of Fame each and every year, and I agree with that. Because there's no reason to hold back players that clearly deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, like NC State's own Torrey Holt, C3 Cole. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I was about to say it. Thank you for mentioning it. Superstar wide receiver definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Look at his numbers compared to some of the greats. If you did it blindly, you choose Torrey Holtz over some of them.
Yeah, the NFL is completely ass backward. Because you got to think, there's 52 guys on a roster. There's untold how many people by the time the IR and the injuries and the training camp goes through. You got all these folks that in each for 32 teams rather, excuse me. And the NFL only puts 5 guys a year in the Pro Bowl in the Hall of Fame. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a backload of not just wide receivers, but players. And according to Jonathan Gannon, who also does the voting, and a few other folks, he said that a lot of the times they don't want to put 4 or 5 wide receivers in there. They want to balance it out. So they'll only pick 1 or 2 wide receivers to go in there, 1 or 2 edge rushers. And they don't want to do all wide receivers. And it makes sense that way. So why only have 5? You're going to have people that will never go into the Hall of Fame because the NFL is stuck in their own ways of only putting 5 guys in there. It's just the way technology is now. It's just downright incompetent.
Yeah, it
Well,
is,
and
man.
go ahead,
Go
Cody.
ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Trash.
Well, I mean, isn't it done the same way? It's all a popularity contest. I mean, all the way down from Pro Bowl is retweeting. I'm sorry, Pro Bowl is retweeting.
Yeah.
That,
Well, here's
and
the
then
deal.
think about
It's the fan vote, and that's not even for the final 3, man. Like,
Cody. I can go
it's
build a bot right now. I can go build a bot that creates
yeah,
bots that goes and retweets a shitload. Like, how are we having this
yeah,
conversation right now? That's
yeah.
not
I
a
know.
fan vote. That's a fake vote.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
you're
should be a
right.
fan vote. I agree, but that's not a fan vote. That's a fake
Right,
vote.
right, right. Yeah. I was also thinking about the Walter Payton Man of the Year award too. They do that, and Greg Olson won like 2 or 3 years in a row online, and yet never won the award. You're right, dude. It's so stupid the way
Well,
they
and
do
then
it.
what about with Pro Bowl votes? If you get one person that denies they're like, okay, let's say we have got 2 teams going to the Super Bowl. One of them has 5 Pro Bowl votes. They're not going to go play in the Pro Bowl, so those get shifted over to the second runners. Those
Yeah.
aren't true Pro Bowl people. That's a follow up. That's bullshit.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. I mean, I quit watching the Pro Bowl a few years ago when I was watching it, and this was back then when they're still in Hawaii, and it right at the beginning of the Pro Bowl when they had an actual football game, they reached out and the offensive line and defense basically played 2-hand touch. And the ref stopped the game because they realized these folks don't know what they're doing. They were told to have fun but don't get hurt. So these young players didn't realize it was just there was more than 2-hand touch. I said, "Oh no, I'm done with this." And I very rarely do I vote for the Pro Bowl. I vote for Derek Brown twice this year. And last year, I don't think I voted for anybody in the Pro Bowl for
Yeah.
the Panthers. I very rarely don't vote
Derek
on it
Brown's the only one I did.
because
Yeah.
it's just an excuse. And a lot of it is turned into, players when they ask you to vote on Twitter for them in the Pro Bowl. A lot of it is based on if they make X amount of Pro Bowls, they get a bonus in their contract.
Which again is
I
probably
can't
another
blame 'em.
piece of
I
thing we
mean,
need to talk about. Not us, but whoever the president of the high ups of the
yeah,
some of that needs to change, man. This is old
yeah,
school, like it's like
yeah.
early 2010s kind of mentality. Like this needs to change. A lot of this needs to change.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify something I saw in the chat just a second ago. Strat's argument is like taking out yak yards for quarterbacks in passing yards when it in concerns to the MVP. Okay, so he's not saying Lamar shouldn't be the MVP. He's actually saying Lamar should be the MVP because you got quarterbacks like Tua who get a ton of yak yards with Tyreek Hill, and Mahomes did as well. Mahomes won an MVP with a ton of yak yards from Tyreek Hill as well.
Yeah.
And he's also putting down like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy gets a ton of yak yards from George Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, like McCaffrey,
CMC.
the whole lot.
Yeah.
CMC. Yeah, so just wanted to clarify that in the chat. He's building those guys up like Lamar. He's not putting them down. It's more to Tua and Brock.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Sorry, chat. I can't see what everyone said, so I appreciate you saying that,
you're
Deez.
good,
Yes,
man.
that is what I meant.
Yeah. And, I mean, and so what y'all feel about Julius Peppers, man? Julius Peppers, I believe this is first ballot for him, right? This is the first year of him being like truly eligible. And dude, how could you not, man?
Yes.
Like that guy was a destroyer of worlds. That guy was, the original, like genetic freak defensive end that could do no wrong. Incredibly strong, sets the edge, incredible speed rush, incredible power. Like the dude could do it all. The dude could absolutely do it all, man.
And it's ironic, too, because we talked a lot tonight about Brian Burns, and we've talked on previous podcasts in the Friday Free-For-All about how similar those paths are and the parallel paths of Brian Burns and Julius Peppers. And now that path has diverged. Only having a 6-sack season would pull Brian Burns away from the career that Julius Peppers had. So I think it's interesting that we brought that up tonight, Cody.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, dude, he's one of the greatest Panther players of all time. And again, as these Panther legends come and go, it makes you realize that you have to capitalize on those moments. Like the Ravens are doing now. When they have a Lamar Jackson, they're putting pieces around him. You know, this is something that I feel like we never did properly for Cam Newton. You hope that we're going to be able to do it for Bryce and give him the kind of team that he can actually thrive with and be successful with, man. But listen, we've come to that part of the show. We're going to get ready to get out of here. We've done almost 2 hours. I'm going to ask, as we go into this game with no Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars, 1, who will be your player of the game? 2, what will be the final score? And 3, who is the victor? Who will come out on top? I'm going to start with my man, Panther Pickle. Pickle, give me your player of the game. Who's going to win? And what's the score?
All right. My player of the game is Tommy Tremble.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
The Panthers will win 24-13.
Oh, I like that. 24-13. Tommy Tremble, player of the game. All right, let's go. Dominique, you still with me, bro? Dominique. I appreciate you, Dominique. Evan, you with me, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you. Give me your final score, player of the game, and who wins.
Player of the game, I'm going to go with Bryce. I think Bryce continues his hot play. At this point, because our season's already over, we can't sneak into the playoffs. It's really just seeing Bryce develop, and that's what we've seen. And I think he continues that. And I think the Panthers are going to win without Trev. I just don't think the Jags can win. The defense hasn't been playing as good as they have early on in the year. And I think the Panthers are going to win 24-21.
24-21. I like that. A close game. Rock Jones echoes the same sentiment. I like that. Who just said the player of the game was?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I knew that. Bryce Young repeating the performance. I like that a lot. Next up, my guy Cole in the building. Cole, appreciate you, man. We missed you for the film room, man. We gotta get you back on then, bro. We'll do 2 more before the season's over, so we'll get you back on it. But Cole, give me your final score, player of the game, and who wins. Man, you're muted, bro. Can you hear me? Where everybody go, man? Everybody
Yeah, he
jumped off.
posted
I can
in
hear
the
you.
chat. Yeah, he posted in the chat. He
Oh,
said
what
it
he
would be 24-14. Here it is. It says, no, that was somebody else. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not Cole.
Bad.
All right, we'll go back to Cole if you did. Oh, he
Okay.
says, all right, he sent a message in the private chat. He says headphones died. Give him the Panthers 17-13. DJ Shark, player of the game. I love the optimism, man. People think that Bryce and DJ are finally starting to do something special. Eventually, we're going to talk about retaining DJ and if that's something that should happen or not. All right, next up, my man Strats back in the building. Happy you could jump back on, bro. Final score, player of the game, who wins?
Thanks for having me. Well, you know what? Before I even say that, I gotta say, I hate to toot my own horn here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Last week I said we'd get at least 1 pass, at least 1 rush. I was right. We did.
Yeah.
So what I think might happen here is, and I said the same thing I've been saying it for the past 3 weeks, I want to see progress. So what I'm hoping here is that the defense holds. There's no excuse for them not to on the backup quarterback. I'm going to go with 24 us to 10 them. And then player of the game, Oh man, I wasn't ready for that one. Play of the game is. I want to say Bryce has. I don't know. Maybe I'll say it's Bryce. It's probably a receiver, but I'll go with Bryce.
Bryce
DJ Chark. Let's go with Chark.
All right, DJ Chark. DJ Chark
Yeah.
has that great performance. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I just hope it goes off, man. I really want him to go over.
I swear, week after week, y'all. Not that it bothers me that much, but I feel like I never get credit for what I say.
No,
and
you've been the most.
typically happens around-
100%. You've been the most optimistic. I feel like every free for all, whenever people are for the most part picking the Panthers to lose, you've been riding strong. So no credit, brother. You have been picking the Panthers, and you were right.
You the man. You the man.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, you all the men, people.
Keep the streak going, man. We'll sing.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course.
I want to do an ice up before we get off here, Cody.
Of course, Pickle making things run long. Go ahead.
I want to ice up Brian Burns. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And dude, you ain't beating nobody. So, Brian Burns, ice up, man. Ice up.
That man said ice. You know what? Don't I even have? Wait, hang up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
He said ice up, Brian Burns. Ice up. Ice up. I'll give mine so that way the brand ambassador can go last as per usual. I am going to pick the Carolina Panthers coming out on top. I got the final score at 32-21 for the Carolina Panthers. And I also believe that our boy Bryce Young is going to continue upon his prior success. And I think Bryce Young is going to go over 250 passing yards. Let's go, baby. Hey, we got to see it, man. Let's go. We got to see it. Bryce Young player of the game, 32 to, what did I say, 21? Yeah, 32-21. Bro, we need to finish this one out. And we're at home, right? This is our final home game of the year. So, bro.
No, we're away.
Oh, it's away? Okay, my bad.
Next week is home with the Bucks, I think.
Yes, okay. So we need to win our final home game of the year versus Tampa.
Well, look at this. The trajectory of winning our first on the road game this year. How lovely does that sound?
Cody, you should have went to Florida. You should have went to Jags, to the Jaguars. You know who play? You know where the Clemson played today at?
Where they play?
Cody's rethinking his whole.
Oh yeah, they did. Ah, damn, man.
You could have went to Florida and spent Friday watching your
Yeah. Friday watching Clemson and Sunday watching my Panthers. I should have, man. That would have been a great damn weekend. Panther guy says Bryce is going to run it in for a touchdown himself. Ooh, I like that. Bryce has been running angry, and I do like that about him, if I do say so myself. But if you know how we do it around here, we save the last word for the brand ambassador, my man Don. These ill skills. Yep. So let me ask you, man, who's going to be your player of the game? What's the final score? And who's coming away with that W, bro?
I have my old man hat on for this game coming up on Sunday. And that old man hat says, run the damn ball. And that's what I believe the Carolina Panthers should do coming up Sunday. And to get that first road win, like Strats was saying, and for that to happen, we need to run the damn ball. I think we got away from it a little too early against the Packers. I know we were down 2 scores. I understand, but I feel like we should have kept running the ball to enable Bryce to get these plays that he's been making. It'll help him on his path. It'll help him develop as a quarterback. We've got to be more effective. We've got to pound that rock. We've got to overpower the team in front of us to get wins at this point, just like Steve Wilkes did for us late in the season last year. It's the same thing that we need to do now. We've eclipsed 200 yards within the last 2 weeks for the first time this season, and I think we can do it again. Therefore, my player of the game is going to be Chuba Hubbard. I feel like Chuba Hubbard has a great game. We saw earlier that Miles Sanders has a toe injury, so hopefully he will be left out of this, and Raheem Blackshear will get the backup carries, and we can be even more successful in the running game without Miles Sanders in the game. That would be fantastic and a great New Year's gift for the Panthers. Just leave him on the bench, just like all the fans have cheered for all this season. As a final score, I don't think it's going to be crazy. I'm going to go 17 for the Panthers and only 14 for the Jaguars. I think we continue to struggle to stop the Jaguars on the ground, just like the Panthers have struggled to stop the run all year. But I don't see anything coming from that quarterback except for some screen passes and some flat throws. If you remember, like the P.J. Walker game last year against the Rams, I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll do a lot of short throws to the flats to try to expose this defense, but I don't see it working. We might get a quick pick for a pick six, and that'd be enough to tilt the victory for the Panthers. So we're going to go ahead and cheer for them and say that they're going to win coming up here. And I dare all of you listening to this and the C3 Panthers podcast, I dare you to dream. I dare you to dream of a Carolina win coming up this Sunday. I dare you to dream of success for Bryce Young, our rookie quarterback that we gave up the farm for. I dare you to dream in development of players like Tommy Tremble and players like Raheem Blackshear and players like Chuba Hubbard, because that's what this young team needs. I dare you to dream of a competent head coach and a competent offensive coordinator that we haven't had. I dare you to dream of the success of the C3 Panthers podcast next season as we cover all these draft details and what's going to happen with this team. I dare you to dream of joining us on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., joining us on Spaces on Twitter, being a part of the C3 community. I dare you to do so. Come be a part of the C3 Panthers podcast and the community that was built by Tony Dunn and Cody Lack. It's a fantastic community to be a part of. We just talk football and have fun. I dare you to come on next week and have a discussion with us here on the Friday Free for All. I thank you, Cody Lack, for letting me be a part. Let's go C3.
Let's go until everybody comes back to C3 this Sunday for the post-game show. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we're going to do. Keep pounding, baby. Let's go. C3, we out.